Welcome to my presentation on offsetting the carbon footprint of my Vietnam trip. I'm so excited to be heading to Vietnam next week with my professor and about 12 classmates. And as a pre-trip homework assignment, the professor asked us to calculate the emissions of our travel over and back and to come up with ways that we might be able to offset our carbon footprint when we get home. So this is really the first time that I've dug into carbon calculators. I've played around with them a bit, but I really had no idea how to measure my travels or to really evaluate my household usage and some of my other behaviors at home. So I was excited, but scratching my head a little bit. And so I started Googling around, and I pretty quickly came across Mother Nature Network and found their page where they suggested 15 of their favorite carbon calculators. Conservation International was there, the Nature Conservancy, the EPA, and also one that I ended up relying on quite a bit called carbonfootprint.14ls. And through these I also learned that the unit that I was going to be measuring in was carbon dioxide E being for equivalent. So I started with carbonfootprint.com and first entered in my trip from home to Portland, to the Portland bus station. And I drive a Prius, so it was nice to see on this website that I could add in the year and the model, and it gave me the right footprint for my car. From Portland to Boston, I'm taking Concord Trailways with my classmates. Then we're jumping on a plane at Logan and flying via Tokyo to Ho Chi Minh City. And during our trip, we'll have one flight from Ho Chi Minh City to Da Nang. One of the things I especially liked about this website is that I could click the box for the radiative forcing factor, and that produced a little bit higher number usage for carbon dioxide, and I liked that, kind of erring on the side of more rather than less. And as you can see from the chart, my round-trip carbon footprint for my trip to Vietnam is 5.33 metric tons of CO2e. I began to wonder what I could do to offset the carbon footprint of my trip. I really can't commute to work on a bike because that's more than 60 miles a day, plus a lot of side trips. I also eat very well, close to vegetarian, but not close enough maybe. I feel like I recycle well. I don't buy too much bottled water. I fill up water when I need to. And as far as light bulbs go, I have bought some new light bulbs, but that could improve. So once again, I turned to the websites, and I used several different ones. And what I came up with was carpooling between my husband and I. If we were to carpool 3 times a week, he works on the way to my work, so that's kind of easy. And if we did that for a year, we would save 3 metric tons of carbon dioxide. We keep our house pretty cool, I feel, but if we tried to reduce it by 10%, that would save us another 0.833. Here's another thing we could do regarding transportation. My daughter flies home a few times a year from Villanova to visit us. If instead of flying she took a train, that would save 0.4 metric tons. And if I did inch my way to becoming even a little bit more vegetarian, one site gave different measurements for different grades of being vegetarian, and if I inched to the next one down, I could save another 0.4. If we tried to reduce our electricity even more, that would save 0.291. And if my husband and I, instead of driving our car down to Villanova to visit Christina, would make 2 of those trips on train, that would save us 0.28. And then, of course, I could keep my tire pressure where it should be. saving the final amount to bring our total savings for the year to 5.453 metric tons. Not feeling content to just say I was going to reduce my electricity usage by a certain percentage, I dug a little deeper, and I learned that of some specific things I could do. I could reduce the dishwasher temperature from 150 degrees Fahrenheit to 130. I could change out even more bulbs to low energy usage. And I could hang out my laundry during the summer months, saving even more. So those were just some of the specific things I came up with. And here are my results. So starting with the trip footprint of 5.33, I subtract my savings of 5.453, and I have a net contribution to the earth of 0.123 metric tons of carbon dioxide saved. I really am very excited about this trip, and as I've been reading through some of the background materials, there are a couple of things that I'm especially interested in learning about. Because of my work in land conservation, I'm especially interested in climate change issues happening in Vietnam and learning about the climate adaptation strategy. I know that the coastal and delta regions are under severe threat of rising waters. And I'm also interested in how Ho Chi Minh City is being transformed into a modern industrial city with regards to sustainable development efforts and especially social progress and fairness. Lastly, I'm curious about the ecological considerations for how the traditional Vietnamese relationship with land and water is being honored in the adaptation strategy. The McKinsey report was also pretty interesting to scan through, and I've learned that there's a 4-point agenda that they suggest for sustaining growth, and I'm very curious to learn more about that. Well, thank you so much for listening to my presentation. I can't wait to leave in 8 days.